Hi everyone, I'm Joshua Thomas, and I want to talk to you about writing, specifically storyboarding. Now, when many of you think storyboarding, you think about what you do after you've written a script and you want to start filming. You draw the pictures, you add in arrows to represent the camera angles, but what I want to talk about is the storyboard you make before you start writing. The one behind me you might recognize as being a storyboard in Save the Cat. Save the Cat is a book by Snyder, really good book, I recommend you read it. Now, a lot of people will disagree with this. They'll say you shouldn't use this kind of storyboard because it limits you, it forces you to put certain parts of the script on certain pages, but I would argue that this will really help you in seeing your script before you even start writing. It allows you to visualize your story. There are many different ways you can make your own storyboard. For mine, I use index cards in many different colors, thumbtacks, and a corkboard. Now in Save the Cat, it tells you to break your board down into 4 equal rows. Each row is going to have 10 cards on it. So the pack of cards I buy conveniently has 5 different colors in it. I use one color for each row, and then I have a color left over to represent scenes of intense conflict. So I use red cards to represent those scenes. As you can see behind me, I've almost got the first 2 rows completed, but my second 2 rows have a lot of holes in them. Now that represents holes in your script, and you wouldn't be able to see that if you just kept it all in your head and decided to start writing. You might be able to fill those holes with scenes that you can create as you write, but having this board to visualize those scenes can really help you determine where those holes are exactly in your script. And that's why I wanted to show you the board in the state that it's in now. The script that I'm writing now, these are all the scenes that I have come up with. So if I had started writing now, I would have an incomplete story. But as you can see, now that I know where my holes in my script are, I can plot and fill those holes in with more scenes that will help the general flow of my script. Let's take a closer look at my board. Being able to visualize your conflict will really help you in making your script. Notice that there's one piece of conflict at the very beginning. All these scenes of conflict are attention grabbers for your audience. So you might want to make sure you have at least one of your intense conflict scenes at the very beginning. And then have moments of conflict scattered throughout your script. Let's take a look at some of the holes in my script that we have right now. On our 3rd row, this is the fun and games row. This is where a lot of the happy stuff happens in the script. The main characters get what they want, although at this point in time they may not realize that what they want isn't something that they need or isn't good for them. So I need to add a couple more scenes to the fun and games department to add more lightheartedness to our script. Now on row 3, my yellow cards, this is where the bad guys close in. Now, the bad guys might close in the background, or in this instant, the bad guys kind of close in the foreground. So my main characters realize that the bad guys are starting to win over him. And at this point, he reaches rock bottom. So what happens from the moment where the bad guys really start to close in to the moment he reaches rock bottom? I have to figure out a way to fill in this major gap in my story. Then on our 4th line, we have the final act, the third act, where the main character has gone as low as he can go, and now he has to build himself back up to defeat the bad guys in the final scenes. But how do we get from rock bottom to defeating the bad guys? We've got another hole right here where I've got to figure out a way for my character to build himself back up and find the courage to finally win the day, get the girl, and defeat all the bad guys, and have a happier life because of it. Well, that's my board in a nutshell, guys. Remember, a lot of people out there, a lot of books maybe even, are going to tell you that using a formula like this is not good. It limits your creativity, and you won't be able to explore as much. But I would argue the other point, that even though you use a formula, like the board right here behind me, you can still be very creative with your scripts. And your scripts will have a much better flow because you used a formula here that works. I hope this video has helped you out, and stay tuned for more videos about writing, filmmaking, and videography. So, subscribe if you liked this video. Thanks, guys. It can give your Take 2. So that's my board in a nutshell. Train. Let the train pass.